Please rise for the General Salute. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On behalf of our hosts, Major General Charles Karamba, Air Force Chief of Staff, Rwanda Defense Force, and Colonel Stephen Hughes, Deputy Director, Plans, Programs, and Analysis, Headquarters, United States Air Forces in Europe, United States Air Forces Africa, welcome to the 2019 African Partnership Flight Rwanda. Throughout this event, we will endeavor to enhance multilateral cooperation in the region through the sharing of air and ground safety expertise. Through this unique venue, African Partnership Flight enhances our safety expertise as well as our ability to work together. Our first speaker today is Lieutenant Colonel Jason Farmer, Senior Defense Official, Defense Attaché, United States Embassy to Rwanda. He will now make his remarks on behalf of the Honorable Peter Vrooman, United States Ambassador to Rwanda.
Muraho neza. Major General Karamba, senior representatives from the Rwanda Defense Force, senior representatives from our partner nations, APF participants and U.S. Air Force colleagues, Maramutse neza and good morning. As was just said, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Jason Farmer. I've had the pleasure of serving as the U.S. Senior Defense Official and Defense Attaché to the Republic of Rwanda over the last 2.5 years. And on behalf of Ambassador Vrooman, who's currently traveling this week, and the U.S. Embassy, I want to thank the Rwanda Defense Force for hosting this event here in Kigali this week. And I want to welcome all of our international partners who have traveled here from Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal, and Zambia this week to be with us. You're welcome. I'm only going to make a few short remarks this morning before passing over the stage to our co-hosts from the Air Force and the Rwanda Defense Force. But I do want to say that we're extremely pleased to have the Africa Partnership Flight come to Rwanda. We realize that the Africa Partnership Flight has existed for a number of years now, but this will be the first time that it's hosted in Rwanda. And we're very excited about coming because the timing of this is pretty impeccable. Last week, Rwanda hosted an international event called the Aviation Africa Summit. And I think that what's exciting about that is the summit had representation from across the continent, across the world. And they showcase the exciting momentum of the growing attention and efforts for collaboration in the region on aviation. So we're leading into now this week focusing on the Air Force side, but there's been already that type of aviation discussion going on here in Kigali this last week. We are also really pleased on the focus of this conference, being on ground and flight safety with an emphasis on mishap investigation. The reason we're excited about that is because as we share, I think, best experiences, best practices on these specific topics, it will enable us to increase the quality of our operations, our standards, and the way that we take care of both our soldiers and our airmen as we collaborate across this vast continent. Finally, if you arrived early for this conference earlier this weekend, there were some big events going on in town, and we were really thankful for the timing because our Air Force band was able to arrive a few days early and participate in supporting the Tour de Rwanda concert on Saturday evening. If you were in town, you could have heard that concert throughout the entire city. And so I want to thank our Air Force Band for coming in and supporting not only the strong partnership that we have with the Rwanda Defense Force, but also the partnership that we have with Rwanda in celebrating this exciting cycling event that they just hosted. So with those few short opening remarks to welcome you here to Kigali, I want to wish you an incredible week as you engage on these topics. I pray that it's fruitful, and we wish that we really do walk away with best practices as you head back to your nations by the end of the week. Thank you for making APF a reality for the first time here in Rwanda, and I look forward to hearing how this goes throughout. Murakoze cyane, and thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Farmer. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Hughes.
There's an old saying in Africa that goes something like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's really the spirit that I hope will work out this entire week, because we've come together to share ideas, so hopefully we can also operate better together in face of crisis in the future. Major General Karamba, on behalf of USAFE AFAFRICA's Commander, General Todd Walters, I want to thank you for personally making this possible and for welcoming us warmly to your beautiful country of Rwanda. I also want to thank the rest of the senior leaders from the Rwandan Defense Forces for joining us this morning. I also want to extend our sincere appreciation for the nations that are participating: Cameroon, Ghana, Senegal, Zambia, and of course the RDF and the United States Air Force. This is going to be a wonderful event. When we thought about the APF, Africa Partnership Flight, the whole idea was for the United States Air Force to learn as much about our partners as much as our partners learn from us. We show up, we work with you, we learn together again, and we hope we can operate together. There are 3 words that I want to pass to you, and I hope during the entire week you would keep that in mind. Those 3 words are cooperation, collaboration, so we can interoperate together. Now, most people think those 2 words or 3 words kind of work together and are similar. They are similar, but they're different. Cooperation means we have agreed to come together to address something. Collaboration is the how we get after it. How do we work together? How do we bring our ideas? How do we exchange our ideas? How do we share our strengths? And how do we share our weaknesses? And then to interoperate. An old Air Force general said, you can't surge trust. And what that means is you can't just start working together when there's a crisis. You had to have been working together to build up a team, to build up a process, to build up the relationship. And eventually, you can be able to work together effectively. And so the topic of this week being safety is very important, because the aviation enterprise, the business that most of the Air Force is in, is inherently very risky, right? And so whether you are conducting an ISR mission to provide information to your leaders so they can make good decisions, or to find out where your potential issues are, those involve risk. So whether you are providing air support to ground forces so they can stay safe, that involves risk. Whether you are providing humanitarian assistance, flying supplies in, those involve risk. And so what I'm hoping this week we'll be able to talk about is how do we mitigate that risk so the people that are conducting those missions can do so in a safe manner. Ladies and gentlemen, I would just like to leave you with this thought, another old African saying, and it goes something like this: coming together is the beginning. Staying together is progress, but working together is success. I have no doubt that's exactly what's going to happen this week. Thank you. I also want to say, don't just work here. I hope you can take the time to enjoy the beautiful city of Kigali. The bands are here to provide entertainment and work together and socialize together so you can truly have a full experience here in Rwanda. Thank you very much, and I wish you a successful week.
Thank you, Colonel Hughes. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Karamba.
First of all, let me begin by thanking Colonel Hughes for that great African saying, which basically summarizes all that we are here for. And in that regard, Colonel Stephen Hughes and Colonel Farmer, representing the U.S. ambassador here, officers from our brotherly African nations, RDF officers, course participants in general, ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to warmly welcome you all to Rwanda in this important workshop on aviation safety that is starting today here in Kigali. We are indeed honored to host this kind of event. It is a sign of confidence that you have in Rwanda and our defense forces. The aim of such workshops is to share experiences, to share best practices in techniques and procedures, and to strengthen relationships. Sharing of knowledge will enable better aviation capacity, mutual understanding and cooperation, as well as greater interoperability. This safety workshop is the first of its kind to take place in Rwanda. It will equip RAF personnel and our African brother air forces present here with the knowledge and skills to cope with modern air safety standards. By the end of this workshop, I have no doubt that we will have gained necessary skills to operate these delicate and expensive machines that we employ on a daily basis, and I urge you to share that acquired knowledge with your peers. This workshop is possible thanks to the good partnership between AFRICOM and partner Air Force, African Air Forces. Therefore, let me take this opportunity to commend AFRICOM's continued efforts in building partnerships with African Air Forces and its contribution in building professionalism in our respective militaries. I strongly believe that this workshop will contribute to ensure the much-needed partnerships in the fight against common threats. With these few remarks, I hereby declare this African Partnership Flight 2019 workshop on aviation safety officially open. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Major General Karamba. We sincerely appreciate the remarks given by our hosts, and this concludes our opening ceremony. And we look forward to a great week ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the official party.